Hello, I'm ZD, or otherwise known as John Zamilio, and this is Mourningstar Studios. This is the top 10 games that I've ever played, and this is going to be part of a series of top 10 lists from our other contributors. And at the end, we're going to do a roundtable list of our video games in general. Now let's get this on the road. Now first I want to start off by saying that I have played a majority of the consoles, mostly Nintendo and PC and Microsoft, not really on the Sony side just because that's how I grew up. But basically I started off with the Sega Genesis, Super NES, Nintendo 64, GameCube, the Wii, and later in my life I started off with the original Xbox, and I got my own Xbox 360. That was when my gaming really took a hit at one point because I couldn't afford it. But then I really got into it, and about 4 years later I got a really good PC, and I have just been on the road since then, discovering all these new games, and it's just great. So let's start with number 10. It is a PC game. It is called The Binding of Isaac. It's not that much of a popular game, but I must say it is one of the most addicting games I've ever played. It's based off of one of the old Legend of Zelda dungeon type things. You basically kill demons with your tears. May sound weird, but it is really fun. I have about 140 hours played into it, and yeah, I mean, every dungeon is randomly spawned each time. It's a great game. I would strongly recommend it. It's really cheap too. It's only $5. Okay, on to number 9. Banjo-Kazooie for the N64. This was a childhood classic. It had everything a small child could want. I think it had decent graphics for the time. Talking bird, talking bear, talking green witch, finding floating magical golden puzzle pieces, and fighting off massive bears and little people. Well, anyways, I really enjoyed it. Played it about 15 times through as a child, and I recently just got it on my Xbox from the Xbox Arcade, and haven't played it much, but it's definitely a go-to. And then in the number 8 spot for the Nintendo GameCube is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. It was a hard choice between the first one and the second one, but ultimately I feel like the second one just added on to the first one without taking away anything really good about it. And basically I like it because it's Mario, first off, and I love Mario. And playing as a paper, it's just a whole new genre. Sounds French, but it's just a whole different type of game style. It's really fun, really strategic. It's all age ranges. It's just really fun. And in the number 7 spot would be Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo. And this one was more a game I played when I was younger, even though I just got it on my phone as an emulator. And going around as Yoshi, carrying baby Mario, and it was just, I didn't really understand the concept at the time. I just knew I was a freaking Yoshi with Mario on my back. And yeah. Alright, now for the number 6 spot for the Nintendo GameCube, Super Smash Bros. Melee. I spilled countless hours into this game. Countless times playing through the levels, unlocking all the characters, and every time going through the game not knowing what new stages are going to be unlocked. And, you know, getting, 150, 200 trophies and not knowing what half of them mean. But still, it was a great game. It's a party game. You can take it to all your friends' houses, and everyone's just like, oh my god, I love that game. I think we all can agree on that. Alright, now for the number 5 spot, Donkey Kong 64 for the Super Nintendo 64. Now, this game really blew my mind as a child because it was, well, I thought it was for the time, I think it was a great graphical game. And the length of the story itself was just great. And the amount of time you had to put into it to solve puzzles, I think they were puzzles, or at the time I thought they were puzzles. And be able to play as all the 5 characters and strategically beating things, well, to me they were strategic, and just the open world stuff, I just thought it was great. And it's Donkey Kong. I always had a passion for Donkey Kong, so I had to include it on this list, and made a decently high spot. Okay, now for number 4 spot on the PC, I'd have to say is Minecraft. It was like a whole new world opened up when I discovered this game. I got it when it was really in the like alpha series. It was only $15. I took a gander with it and I loved it. It was hours and hours and hours of fun at first, and then when I discovered the multiplayer feature, it was hundreds of hours probably. I don't even know. And now me and my friends have like 8 people on it one night sometimes. Just creating a whole new world in your vision. It's just great. I know a lot of children play it, and I know a lot of adults play it, but hey, it's a great game. Now for the number 3 spot is Halo 3 for the Xbox 360. This game really touched my heart. It was the first game I got for the Xbox 360 when I first purchased it, and between going through the missions over and over and playing the local multiplayer before I had Xbox Live with my buddy, it was just a great game. I loved the previous installations of it. The story was just fantabulous in my opinion, and it's Halo. Everyone knows about it, but few people really know about it. And in my opinion, I just think it deserves to be on the number 3 spot. Alright. Now for the number 2 spot, it may come as a surprise to you, but for the PC, it would probably have to be RuneScape. Now I know a lot of people hate it, but I played it back in the day when it was really good. None of this stuff today. And I still think it's a great game. I have about 130 days played into this game. Yeah, I didn't really do much in my life about 6 to 4 years ago. Yeah. And just the whole open world, doing whatever you want, becoming your own person, leveling up how you want, meeting new people, meeting friends. It was just a great experience. I mean, in being free to play at the time, the amount of content that was available to you was just great. I know there was advertisement, but no one noticed it. I mean, I remember waking up and running to the computer and playing on it for 7 hours and going back to bed. It was great. Alright, now just before we mention number 1, I just want to mention a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but were very good contenders that a lot of people would agree with. Now the first one is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker for the GameCube. This game was just amazing. The graphics were great for the time, the story was original, sort of, besides the killing Ganon again, but the whole plot twist and sailing around the ocean and talking boat was just great. Now, for the second honorable mention, I would have to say it's Serious Sam for the original Xbox. This game was just great. The whole mass murdering aliens, genociding all these races of 3-eyed people. It was just great, and the local multiplayer was great. Now, for the third spot of Resident Evil 5 for the Xbox 360. I know it's a recent game, but I think it was a great game. It had a great storyline in like line with the rest of them. And the gameplay, I know a lot of people didn't like because of the whole like shooting and not moving thing, but I got past it and I loved it. I played through the story so many times. I'd get through the whole story in 5 hours and that'd be it. And I have about probably 100 hours into the game, but into a console game, I think that's a lot for a game just solely based on story. Alright, now for the next one, Modern Warfare 2 for the Xbox 360. I know it's a Call of Duty, but I took particular interest to this one because I loved Modern Warfare 1, but the Modern Warfare 2 just kind of like built on with the greatness, in my opinion. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I loved the multiplayer, played it tons of times online with my friends. I could always go back to the game and have a good time. Alright, Now for the last one, Guitar Hero 3 for whichever system, because I know it's on multi-platform. But for a long time, I was just rocking out with that. The first time I got it, I was terrible, but then I slowly got better. And I know I'm not the best. I know it's a lot better than me, but the first time completing Fire and Flames on easy, and then medium, and then hard. Never beat an expert, but it was just great. And I always had a fun time with it. Singing on the next generation of Guitar Heroes is great, even though I can't sing. And just, yeah, it was great. Now for the number 1 spot on my list. Bum bum bum. It would happen to be The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the Super Nintendo 64. It was a childhood memory that I will never forget, and I have not forgotten because I have recently played it on an emulator on GameCube, and yeah, it was an astonishing game for its time, in my opinion. The graphics were amazing, I think so anyways. The story was great for the time that I could understand it, and today I still think it's an amazing story. I've probably played through it a gazillion times. I just say that because I can't really remember how many times I played through it, but just know it's a high number. And I think the best thing about that game is the feeling you get when you get one of the spiritual stones or medallions in the game, because it's just such an amazing feeling, like such an accomplishment of, because they're so shiny and you're so reward feeling, like between all that and just everything combined, I feel like it is just the greatest game today, in my opinion. That's why it's on my number 1 list. Thank y'all for listening. I love you. I'm losing it. I'm losing it.